So I am Nathan, I am a high performance coach, I am an environmental junkie and a bit of an animal lover, and I'm really excited to share with you today how to live a life of high performance. So I can already tell just from you guys choosing to be at this expo today that you guys know that there is more to life. You know that there's another level. And the fact that you're sitting in these seats today means that you are interested in unlocking that next level in life. So thank you for being here. Over the next 2 hours, sorry Narita, 20 minutes, hard crowd. We're going to go through the 5 habits to unlocking a high performance life. So can I ask somebody from the audience, I'm a bit into audience interaction, what would you consider to be high performance? If I said the words a high performance life.
High energy.
High energy, excellent. Is there one here?
Busy. Being busy.
Yep, being busy. Okay, great. Anybody else?
Self-motivation.
Sorry?
Self-motivation.
Motivation, excellent. All of those are fantastic. And the thing about a high performance life, the way we define it, is achieving above the standard norms for the long term. So the idea about high performance is it's not about peaks and troughs. It's not about burning out. It's about sustaining a great level of life, of intimacy with your partner, of relationships, of energy, and with what you do with your time, your work, your profession, etc. So high performance is long term. And that's why, as we go into this today, that's what I want you to think about it about. It's not about being great tomorrow and by Monday, I just can't get out of bed. It's about the long-term high performance. So let's get right into it. I'm old school. I've got my whiteboard over here. So actually, I'm going to put that on the other side. So as I go into it, this study that created these high performance, these 5 factors, was done with 172,000 people globally. So it's not just a small sample size. This is serious research that's created this study. So the number one thing that, the 5 things, the first thing of the 5 things that help people to work out how to live a life of high performance is clarity. You've got to be clear about who you are and what you want from life. So if you don't know who you are and you don't know what you want, how can you live a high performance life? So I want to ask you a question, and this is going to get a little bit morbid, and I'm sorry, but if at the end of your life your tombstone sat above your grave and you could have 3 words written on that tombstone, and those 3 words were about you. They were about who you were, your character, not about what you did, not about the roles you fulfilled. What would you want those 3 words to be? Your whole life summed up into 3 words, 3 meaningful words. For me, my 3 words, number 1 is inspire. I would love people to say about me that I inspired them on a daily basis. The second word is wisdom. I want to grow in wisdom. I want to learn and I want to impart wisdom on a daily basis. And the third word is genuine. What you see is what you get. What would those words be for you? So if you've got a pen and paper or a phone or whatever you're taking some notes on, write that down. Have a think about it tonight. Have a think about what your 3 words would be. The second point on clarity is how are you going to achieve what you want to achieve? So if I said to you, how do you measure success? Or if we wrote the word success there, what would success look like for you? See, most people think about us success as being a fast car, a big house and lots of money in the bank. The problem with that is what kind of car? How big is a big house? And how much money is enough? Just because you're at this expo, I can almost guarantee that those are probably not your factors that would determine success. But the problem is most people still haven't thought about what success actually looks like. And so for high performers, we look at success on a daily basis, almost an hourly basis. So if you woke up tomorrow and you thought about your Sunday and you said, okay, when I go to sleep tomorrow night, what would a successful Sunday look like? What would a successful Monday look like? And as you go to bed that night, You go, okay, have a quick review of the day. Was today a success? Did I live the life I wanted to live? Was I clear about being that person that is going to be on my tombstone? Did I live those words? Did I make my difference? See how success then becomes something tangible, something we can measure, rather than just this pie in the sky kind of idea? Is that making sense for you guys? Yeah? Okay, we're going to move on from clarity. The second part of living a high performance life is energy. Now, the thing about a high performance life is you've got to have the energy to be able to live the life and do the things that you want to be able to do. So how do you develop the energy, or how do you live the energy that you need to live the life you want to live? So again, if you've got a piece of paper, write these 2 questions down and ask yourself these questions before important events in your life. The first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how alive, how energetic do I feel right now? 1 being practically dead, I couldn't get out of bed this morning. 10 being jumping out of my skin. Now I want you to think about an event that's happened in the last week, or an event that's going to happen in this coming week. Before that event happens, ask yourself this question: how energetic do I feel right now? And is that the level of energy that I need or I want for this situation? So for example, if there's parents in the room and your kids are about to come home from school and you think, okay, it's 3:15, they're about to walk in the door and I'm at a 5 out of 10, is that the level of energy I want to greet my kids with? No, I need to be an 8 or a 9. I need to be excited to see them and I need to be living life to the full. What have I got to do to get my energy from 5 to 8? I've got 3 minutes to do it before they walk in the door. By taking stock of your energy, you can change it because you become aware of it. The second question on energy is, how present am I right now? So thinking about 1 being, oh, did I leave the iron on? Did I close the garage door? What's on Facebook? 10 being, I'm absolutely in this room, I'm present, I'm engaged, this is making a difference. Ask yourself that question before you go into an important meeting, before you kiss your kids goodnight, before something important in your life happens, or every day when you wake up. How present am I right now? Scale of 1 to 10. And how present do I want to be? Helpful, guys? Is this... Yep, cool. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so number 3 in living a high performance life is courage. And I want to read a quick quote from Seth Godin. So Seth Godin, great business and self-help author, said, "Courage is the willingness to speak the truth about what you see and to own what you say." So courage is not just about jumping out of aeroplanes. Courage is not just about doing the big things. It's about owning who you are, the clarity, and living in that congruence of who you are in everything that you do. Courage in high performance is actually having the strength to say no to things. It's the ability to know who you are and what you want to do and say no to the things that don't lead to that. That actually takes a lot more courage than people think. I want to tell you a little bit of a story about me, and I'm going to introduce you to the competence confidence loop. So basically the competence confidence loop. Competence is that you study something, you know how to do it. Confidence comes when you finally do it. And as you do it, you become more competent in it. And as you become more competent, you get more confidence. Let me tell you a little bit of my journey. So when I was 11 years old, I was absolutely mad about aviation, flying. I sat an exam and I went to a special school to study aviation 4 hours a week. And for the next 4 years, that's what I did. I studied the theory of flying right up into the theory of my private pilot's license. In year 11, I turned 16, and 18 days after my 16th birthday, I went on a flying camp where I started to actually learn to fly a plane. And over 5 days, we did 2 flights a day, roughly an hour a day, of me actually learning to fly the plane. After the 10th flight, as we landed, the instructor asked me to pull off to the side of the runway. And the instructor opened the door and got out. And he said, "Take her for 1 lap." And in that moment, 4 years of study, 4 years of competence was about to come to fruition. He closed the door, I turned the plane around, went back to the front of the runway, and as I sat there, I was about to fly a plane for the first time by myself. So I took a deep breath, I did the radio call that I needed to do, and then I pushed in the throttle. The aircraft started to hurtle down the runway. It was late afternoon, the sun was low in the sky. It was out in the wheat fields at Cunderdin. And as we got to takeoff speed, I pulled back on the yoke and the aeroplane came off the ground, and I watched the shadow go away from the aircraft. I was flying the plane. I actually turned to the seat next to me and slapped it with my hand to make sure there was nobody sitting there, to make sure I was doing it on my own. What is that for you? What have you been studying or working on for a very long time? What do you need to take off? What do you need to launch? Courage. Let's move on. The number 4 on our high performance is productivity. Again, these stack on top of each other. 1 is good, but 5 is brilliant because they all link together. If you're clear on what you need to do, you can generate the energy to get it done. With that energy, you've got the physical ability to say no to what you don't need to get done. With productivity, you can schedule to make sure that things are really getting done and that you're moving forward a high performance life. So, I'm going to give you one little tool. How are we going for time? I have heaps of time. I'm going quickly. I'm going to give you one tool about productivity. Who has a phone in their pocket right now? Only about half the audience. Who has a smartwatch on their wrist? 1, 2, 3 people. Okay. I call those machines dings of distraction. Because what is in your pocket and what is on your wrist takes your attention away from what you need to be working on. And this is a challenge, and in today's world, this is very, very hard to swallow. But if you were to be productive, super productive, 2 50-minute blocks a day with your phone off and your email closed, I can guarantee in 1 week you would get more done in those 2 blocks a day than you got done on your key projects in the whole month prior. I spoke to somebody earlier today outside and they said they get roughly 12 emails an hour. That's 1 every 5 minutes. Now, if it takes 3 minutes for your attention to return back to what you were doing, that gives you 2 minutes to work before the next email comes in. So by simply turning off your phone and not doing email for 50 minutes 2 times a day, you are going to get more done in those 2 hours. Now, we can stack on top of that. There's so much more I can teach about productivity, but this is the hardest thing. So that's why I kind of launched with it, and everybody in the room probably hates me right now and says that's not possible. But courage is giving yourself permission to not be connected and not be available for 2 50-minute blocks. Is anybody willing to take the challenge? Yeah, cool. So this week, pick a time in the morning and a time in the afternoon. Turn your phone off, close your email, and work on your 1 major project that you need to get done to move your mission, your life forward. Okay, we're going to finish with influence. The world's highest performers create a clan or a tribe. They create people who are following their mission and join them in it. And to do that, we need to create a level of influence for us, for those people around us. So again, I've got two things to think about here. I want you to have a think about somebody in your life who was a major influencer or influence on you. Might be when you were young, might be recently. Why was that person such an influence? What did they do? Who were they? What was their character? And how did they influence you so much? Now, point 2 is I want you to think about somebody in your life who needs your influence in a positive way. Who needs you to be a high performer for them? And how can you model what was modelled to you by the person who influenced you? How can you model that to them? How can you be an influence on them for good, for positive, this week? So these are our 5 points of high performance. I could go a whole lot deeper, and in high performance coaching, we spend an hour a week just on these things, and then we come back and we dig in again and again and again. You've had me for 20 minutes. I hope that what I've been sharing today has sparked some ideas. I call myself a high performance coach, but I could have almost called myself an implementation coach, because all of this stuff that I've just talked about is worthless if you do nothing about it. So I asked you to write something down. And now my challenge to you is one thing that you've written down today, just one thing I'd love you to do tomorrow. Implement one thing. And then do that same one thing on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And it's going to become a habit in your life. Whether it's asking yourself 1 to 10, what level of energy am I at right now? Whatever, whichever one it jumps out at you, do one thing and make it a habit in your life. And then this last 20 minutes has been a great investment. Now I just want to close. Every one of you in this room are high performers because you chose to be sitting here. You chose to invest your time in growing yourself. Every one of you have a mission, a calling, or a dream that the world needs. And only you can give it to the world. So, just like I sat on that runway, I want to imagine yourself, you, sitting in an aircraft at the end of the runway. You're there about to take your first flight solo in whatever that mission, that calling is that is on your life. Only you can push that throttle in. But I would love to see you push that throttle in. I'd love to see your mission, your calling, your purpose start to fly down that runway. And I'd love to see the expression on your face when you pull back on that yoke and you watch that shadow go away and you do it for the first time. Thank you very much.